There are stories that history buried, stories that were never meant to be found, but we found them. Welcome back to Dark Chronicles. There is a gap in the ocean, 21 miles wide, between Iran on one side and Oman on the other. And I'm going to tell you a number later in this video, a single number that explains why the price of everything you buy just went up. See if you can guess what it is. Every single day, roughly 21 million barrels of oil pass through this gap. That's 1/5 of the world's total supply. 1 out of every 5 barrels of oil on Earth goes through a channel so narrow you can almost see across it, and at any moment, one country could shut it down. This is the Strait of Hormuz, the most dangerous choke point on the planet. To understand why this tiny stretch of water holds the global economy hostage, you have to understand what's on either side of it. To the west, the Persian Gulf. This body of water is surrounded by Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Iran. Between them, these countries hold roughly 48% of the world's proven oil reserves, and virtually all of that oil has only one way out. One exit, 21 miles wide, with shipping lanes that narrow to just 2 miles in each direction. The strait sits at the mouth of the Gulf, where it opens into the Gulf of Oman and then the Arabian Sea. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, approximately 21 million barrels of oil and liquefied natural gas pass through here daily, making it the single most critical oil transit choke point in the world. If the Strait of Hormuz were blocked, even for a few days, oil prices would spike within hours. Global markets would panic. Economies from Tokyo to London to New York would feel it before most people finished their morning coffee, and everyone knows it. The first time the world learned just how fragile this choke point really was not in a boardroom or a policy meeting. It was during a war. In 1980, Iraq invaded Iran, beginning one of the bloodiest conflicts of the 20th century. For 8 years, the two nations tore each other apart. But by 1984, the war had spilled into the Persian Gulf and into the Strait of Hormuz. Both sides began attacking oil tankers. Iraq struck tankers carrying Iranian oil. Iran retaliated by striking tankers from Iraq's allies, Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. This became known as the Tanker War. Between 1984 and 1988, according to Naval records, more than 500 ships were attacked. Merchant vessels were hit with anti-ship missiles. Oil platforms were shelled. Crews burned alive on the open water. Insurance rates for tankers in the Gulf reportedly tripled. Some shipping companies refused to enter the strait entirely. Oil prices surged, and the global economy, which had barely recovered from the oil shocks of the 1970s, shuddered again. The United States responded by launching Operation Earnest, the largest naval convoy operation since World War II. U.S. warships began escorting Kuwaiti tankers through the strait under the American flag. But the operation came at a price. On April 14, 1988, the USS Samuel B. Roberts struck an Iranian mine. 10 sailors were wounded. The ship nearly broke in half. The United States retaliated the next day with Operation Praying Mantis, the largest American naval battle since World War II. The U.S. Navy destroyed 2 Iranian oil platforms, sank 1 frigate, and damaged another. Then came the darkest day. On July 3, 1988, the USS Vincennes, an American guided missile cruiser, shot down Iran Air Flight 655, a civilian airliner. 290 people were killed, including 66 children. The United States said it was a mistake, that the crew had misidentified the Airbus A300 as an attacking Iranian F-14. Iran called it a deliberate act of war. To this day, according to scholars and diplomatic sources, the shoot-down of Flight 655 remains one of the deepest wounds in US-Iran relations, a wound that has never healed. The tanker war eventually ended with the ceasefire in August 1988. But the lesson was clear to every military strategist on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz wasn't just a shipping lane, it was a weapon. The tanker war was supposed to be a warning. Instead, it became a playbook. Since 1988, Iran has repeatedly used the Strait of Hormuz as leverage, threatening to close it whenever tensions with the West escalate. In 2008, Iranian Revolutionary Guard speedboats reportedly swarmed U.S. Navy vessels in the strait, coming within 200 meters in what the Pentagon called a provocative encounter. In 2011 and again in 2012, as international sanctions over Iran's nuclear program intensified, senior Iranian officials publicly threatened to close the strait. Iran's Navy commander at the time reportedly said it would be easier than drinking a glass of water. Most analysts believed it was a bluff, but the markets didn't care whether it was a bluff or not. Every time Iran mentioned closing the strait, oil prices jumped. Then came 2019, and this time it wasn't words. In May 2019, 4 commercial oil tankers were attacked near the strait, 2 of them reportedly hit by limpet mines. In June, 2 more tankers were struck in the Gulf of Oman. The United States blamed Iran. Iran denied it. Then Iran shot down a U.S. military surveillance drone over the strait. President Trump reportedly came within 10 minutes of ordering a retaliatory strike before pulling back at the last moment. In July 2019, Iran seized a British-flagged oil tanker, the Stena Impero, in the strait itself. 23 crew members were held for over 2 months. The message was unmistakable. Iran was not bluffing. The strait was not just a shipping lane. It was a trigger, and Iran's finger was on it. And right now, with the current conflict between Iran and the United States escalating, the Strait of Hormuz is more dangerous than it has been in decades. If you want to go deeper on the geopolitics of oil and how energy shapes conflicts around the world, I'd recommend the book The Prize by Daniel Yergin. It's the definitive history of oil and the power it creates. You can listen to it for free with a trial of Audible, the world's largest audiobook library. Your first 2 books are on them, link in the description. Here's what most people don't understand about the Strait of Hormuz. It's not just about oil, it's about the illusion of stability. The entire global economy, the price you pay for gas, for plastics, for heating your home, for the shipping container that brought your phone from a factory in China, all of it depends on 21 miles of open water staying open. There is no alternative route. Saudi Arabia has a pipeline, the East-West pipeline, that can bypass the strait with roughly 5 million barrels a day. The UAE has one too, the Habshan-Fujairah pipeline, carrying about 1.5 million barrels. Combined, they cover less than a third of what flows through the strait daily. And here's that number I promised you. If Iran were to mine the strait, and according to military analysts, Iran possesses thousands of naval mines, it could take weeks to clear. Weeks. That's the number. Not hours, not days. Weeks. Where 1/5 of the world's oil simply stops. Iran has also invested heavily in anti-ship missiles, fast attack boats, and submarine capabilities, all designed, according to defense analysts, for one specific purpose: to make the strait ungovernable. The U.S. Fifth Fleet is based in Bahrain, just inside the Gulf. It maintains a permanent presence specifically to keep the strait open. Carrier strike groups rotate through regularly, but even the most powerful navy in the world can't guarantee safe passage through a channel this narrow if a determined adversary decides to shut it down, even temporarily. Because it's not about winning a war in the strait. It's about the chaos that erupts the moment the strait is perceived to be closed. Markets don't wait for confirmed reports. They react to fear, and fear moves faster than any warship. 21 miles. That's all that separates a functioning global economy from a crisis that would touch every nation on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz has been a flashpoint for over 40 years. It was the battleground of the tanker war. It was where a civilian airliner was shot out of the sky. It was where tankers were seized and drones were shot down. And right now, as tensions between Iran and the United States reach levels not seen since 1979, this 21-mile gap in the ocean is the most watched stretch of water on the planet. Because the people who control the oil don't always control the choke point, and the choke point controls everything. So here's what I want to know. Should one country be able to hold a choke point that affects every economy on Earth? Or should the strait be treated like international waters, protected by everyone, controlled by no one? Tell me what you think in the comments. If you think more people need to understand why this stretch of water matters, hit subscribe. We uncover the hidden forces that shape the world, the ones the news won't explain, every single week. And there are stories like this one that are just getting started.